Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Talkin Wellness Podcast with yours truly, Christian.
Kayla.
It's your boy Mykel. How we doing?
See how we got it right this time? Haha, we've been practicing.
Literally.
But anyways, today we have another special episode because this time we have a guest with us. This is my good friend and part of South Florida Wellness Network, Manny.
Bum, 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 bum.
Let's go.
Such an honor to have him. If you followed us since our early attempts to make this podcast, working on the channel for the original YouTube channel we were working on, you probably saw him and I and his mom in an episode of one of our earlier attempts to do Talking Wellness in Spanish.
And Espanol.
It was great. So if you guys want to check that out, it's on the YouTube channel South Florida Wellness Network. You're going to be able to find it there. But now we're here, and the reason we invited him is because today's episode connects Manny, myself, Kayla, and Mykel in a very special way because today's episode is wellness through music. Right. So we're going to be talking about music, how it helps us stay well, and what songs have really kind of helped us in our wellness journeys. And maybe it can be some songs that you can add on your playlist to help you in your wellness journey. So without further ado, let's do this. Manny, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You're doing good?
Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for coming. We're glad to have you. Cool. We know that your thing is the music and broadcasting and background and that stuff, so we had to get you on here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. So I think a great way to start this episode would be, what is like your go-to genre of music? Like, I feel everybody has different answers to this, but when I turn on my phone, and you know, like my thing goes on for my phone, and I'm like, hey,
you
what do I
listen to
listen
trap
to?
Music, don't you?
I'm
just kidding.
Or at the end of the year when you get your results of what artists you listen to most.
Who did their Wrapped? Did anybody get their Wrapped?
I didn't
at the end
have
of the year?
to. I knew what I was gonna.
I got mine, and man, am I surprised.
Wow.
So
don't tell me J Balvin was first, or not J Balvin, Bad Bunny.
No, Bad Bunny was not. He wasn't even in the list. Although I do love Bad Bunny.
Me too.
You know, like every Puerto Rican, but he wasn't on my list. But what's like the go-to genre that you go to when you know you're in your car and boom, the music is opens up?
Well, why don't we guess like each other's?
I love that.
That's racist.
Might get canceled for that. Shout out to last week's episode. Okay, I guess let's start with Mykel.
Country? No, I'm kidding.
Let's start with Mykel. Which one do we think is Mykel's?
Oh my God.
Which one do we think is Mykel's?
Hey.
I think it's hip hop.
I mean, come on.
I think you're a fan of Drake. I think you're a fan of Kanye.
Hey, not a Drake, man.
I think you.
This is funny though.
You get down with like Eminem and stuff like that.
I respect
like
that.
Eminem,
I respect that. Okay.
That's the vibes I get from you.
Cool.
Yeah, but I also see Mike with like a little bit of like rock. I don't know. I see like some rock. You know, he rides.
I like my class. Should I be adding into this?
No. Yeah. We're guessing at this point, and then you tell us.
Mike drives. He rides one wheel. I guess he drives it too. It's very interesting. So I could just, you know, I get that like rocker
bump
vibe
like
too.
some Christina Aguilera while I'm riding.
I would actually say like you're rocking mostly with like some lo-fi.
You feel me?
Come on. I
like
actually see that. Yeah,
I see him as a lo-fi type. You know, just like some
very chill.
beats on the background, you know,
Nice.
so he can do what he needs to do.
Okay, well let's stop talking about me. Let's go to the next person.
Okay, Kayla. Let's go to Kayla. Definitely. Well, this is not fair because I know Kayla. But definitely, you got your praise and worship, bumping it in the car all the time.
Yeah.
Definitely think that you're the kind of girl that listens to "I Turn My Wheels
or Morgan Whalen on the weekend.
Morgan Whalen?
Is that his name?
No,
I don't even know his name.
Morgan Wallen.
Was that song
same thing.
Before He Cheats or whatever that song is?
Before He Cheats, Carrie Underwood. Yeah.
Yeah,
You see how she knew to correct me about his name right away, though. It's not that.
I think you're bumping that. I totally just dropped my phone.
We
blooper.
lost one. We lost him. I think we know what Chris listens to.
That's not fair. You guys know what I listen to because I have it on the back of my phone. Kayla, I also think you listen to it. You know what? I'm gonna throw one out there that's kind of crazy. I think you listen to jazz. I think you in secret, you don't let anybody know, but you in secret listen to jazz and you enjoy it.
She's for sure a lo-fi head too.
Yeah, lo-fi, jazzy kind of thing, you know.
I am. But my workout music is totally different.
Oh yeah.
More like it's like
you know, twerking music.
Yeah,
jeez.
like what's
she got Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B going
Pop
crazy.
Smoke and no.
Hey, you need that energy sometimes.
That's true.
Yeah.
What about me? What do you guys think I listen to?
All right.
Don't count.
You
my
mean
phone.
not Queen?
Yeah, you guys didn't see the back of my phone.
I think like Queen, Journey. Like I feel like you're an old soul, and that like your music is like a lot of like the old like soft rock like
Chris
type
is that Spanish person that definitely assimilated with music, 100%. You listen to all the rock,
kinds of,
all the
you
American
worship too though, because
classic
I hear
music.
you. I hear you.
I do.
Yeah.
Manny.
I can see you listening to some old classic like Spanish music too, like very old classic music too.
Yeah. Manny, again, it's not fair because I know you a little bit. Definitely, you're listening to like those Latin hits,
mariachi.
Like I know for a
No.
fact that you got Mana on your phone. You got to have Mana on your phone.
I like them, but no.
Oh. What
so
about
you-
like
Close.
wait.
So you like old school classic? You give me old school
think-
classic
me too.
vibes.
There's certain genres
Like disco.
that
What
I
about
vibe with.
Sublime?
Yes.
Santeria. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you
yeah.
like the disco era of music?
Yes, I do.
I love it too myself.
I'm a huge Daft Punk fan.
Okay, yeah.
I love Zeppelin and
Oh
Black
yeah, I
Sabbath.
can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the classics.
And,
Yep.
yeah, definitely a lot of the classics.
Well, he plays bass. You gotta
Yeah.
know he plays bass.
Yeah.
If you
So,
go,
like,
if you do anything around music theory, you're gonna be into classic music.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm actually like within the last 5 years getting into hip hop, which I'd never.
okay,
Same
but
And you know,
at all.
and you know what's so
Same
funny?
at
all
I've been
whatsoever.
finding so many YouTube channels of older men, white men, Spanish men, and they're listening to hip hop. And obviously, through hip hop, it's a lot of curse words, it's a lot of vulgar stuff. But behind it, it's a message. Not every hip hop artist, but there are those artists that have a huge message.
what kind of hip hop though? Like old school, new age, like what?
Boom bap.
Because I like the old school hip hop.
It's I like the avant-garde, so MF Doom, Tyler the
Most
Creator,
Def. Yep.
Wow.
Most Def.
Yep.
That's the type
The
of stuff
legends.
that's been
Yep.
it's been like that
Yeah.
I've been listening to like, oh, this is quality.
yeah.
Like there's no other word.
I think
This
Most Def
just
is
quality.
the most Def and MF Doom are
Yeah.
the most underrated artists of all time in any genre.
Oh, I love it.
like they
love it to death.
their music they make is amazing. It was just before the time, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was. If it came out now, I think it would be a lot more successful.
Yeah, and I've studied up on them ever since, and it's like they just didn't care. It's just that it's this is what
It
I
was
wanna
musical
do.
representation.
You know, they
and
were
that's what it
completely
is.
They were completely against like the Kanyes, and they were completely against like everything that was popular.
Right.
You know, because they felt that hip hop should be a certain way, and it's like, oh, okay. And that's kind of like what always
like
gets me.
hip hop
There's
carrying the
something
message and
Yeah.
like the essence, like the essence of hip hop.
Yeah, when we think the biggest misconceptions of hip hop and why people don't like them is because they talk about the same subject matter, which is drugs, money, women, stuff like that. So when
Yeah.
you find people talking about messages opposed to that, it's awesome to
Those
hear.
are like I feel like the true hip hop like.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few people that do it now. You have J. Cole, maybe Kendrick Lamar.
That's what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Like it also
People-
depends on the context.
Very few people.
Because
Yeah.
like I feel a lot of artists, rappers specifically today, they talk about those things, but a lot of people talk about it in the sense of like, living in like Compton and like the hood and like coming
people
out of
talk
that.
about it now, but people almost they like idolize it. They like idolize these behaviors versus bringing before like Tupac and Biggie, they'd bring awareness to issues like what was the song? I can't think of it. It was Tupac made a song about his mom or
Oh yeah, Dear Mama.
Dear Mama, like bring up
Yeah.
issues about a single mom raising a kid.
Changes. That's
like
another,
always
yeah,
talking.
I love that
always
song.
bringing up context of music that is problems in the world, other than glorifying women and all this stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just.
yeah. I feel like that's been a lot more like that's always been like within the music realm, but a lot more in this like newer age generation of
100%.
music is like. I mean, I am like, I wouldn't want my kid.
It's become a
watching
lot
and
more
listening to it.
superficial
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think that I understand why a lot of people don't necessarily want their kids listening to that kind of stuff, because it's not necessarily all great stuff
course
out
not,
there.
yeah.
And I'm not saying quality wise. If you like that kind of music, you like that kind of music. I'm not judging anybody for that. I'm just saying the content behind it is not
Right.
necessarily something that I would say, and for me specifically or personally, uplifts me, whereas I listen to Kendrick bars and like I listen to like To Pimp a Butterfly and I'm like, wow, this is real stuff.
Yeah.
This is stuff that I'm like, whoa, I never expected. Literally,
Well, it moves you.
they're
Like for
talking-
me,
Exactly.
like it moves
They're
you.
talking about
Yep.
oppression. They're talking about things that they go through on a daily
Yeah. They're
basis.
talking about the
you know.
truth
we
of
gon' be all
society.
right.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that song. It's one of my favorite songs.
There's a bunch of positive messages in their music, and and at the same time, those people aren't glorified the same way that these people are. They're putting out just random tracks, you know, because people my generation is or the younger generations as well, are very attracted to just beats, loudness, tempos.
Absolutely.
So it's not really about lyrics anymore. So like
Yeah.
they could say nothing in a song and they'll love it.
And honestly, in I'm not criticizing anybody because I enjoy this type of music
me too,
But
yeah.
in Puerto Rico, at least for me personally, or at least in the Caribbean, that's what Bad Bunny and stuff like that
Exactly.
and the Spanish trap is.
Yep.
Sure. Is it enjoyable? Yeah, I love it. It's music that I connect to a lot. That it reminds me a lot of my home. It connects me with my friends. But it's in its essence, it's not necessarily like uplifting.
It's not the purest form of music.
No, it's
Yeah, well,
like-
what's funny? I have a story of when I was younger. I was, that Shaggy song,
Oh, yeah.
on the bedroom floor. Or
Bro, I used to sing
wasn't
that
me.
like it was
My
not a vulgar
mom
song when I was 4.
freaking out. Yeah, she's like, "What are you singing?" Because
Yeah.
I had no idea. I loved that song. I had my uncle buy me the CD. My mom took the CD away from me. This was when CDs were still a thing. So she took it away from me and she was like, "You are not allowed to listen to this." I had to sneak listening to that Shaggy
Yep.
song.
Yep.
It was the same thing back in the day when I was listening to Guns N' Roses and their album cover is literally 5 skulls on top of a cross.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like my grandmother threw that thing
Yep.
very far.
Yeah.
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 No.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I used to have those singing games for the PlayStation, and one of them was an AC/DC version. And I'm in the living room singing at the top of my lungs, "Highway to Hell," and my mom runs to the living room, it's like, "Stop singing that! How are you gonna sing that?" And I'm like, "Oh no, it's just a song.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be singing that, man. It's not nice." And I'm like, "Okay." And to this day, I still bump that song. I'm sorry, Mom. I really like AC/DC.
And that's another point too that like I think we can go into with the music stuff. There is a lot of like bad representation in music as far as demonic stuff, as far as like a lot of things that we kind of don't really realize.
I think that most of that, because I have a lot of experience with that because what I listened to growing up was mostly punk and metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was more about the shock value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more about that raising that rebellious nature of going against your parents and
For sure.
and trying to. 'cause
Anarchy.
Everybody has
Like-
a little
Anarchy,
energy.
yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
Footloose story.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No.
Sorry, that
Yes.
comes to my
Hey,
head.
that's a
Yes,
fantastic
Metallica,
movie.
Guns N' Roses,
It
Footloose.
is.
That's a
It's like-
fantastic
that's
movie.
the-
No, Footloose and what's the other? Dirty Dancing.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
both
yeah.
they
Yeah.
both have that same theme of rebellious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I
So it all
I
depends
can
on how you
definitely
know.
attest to like bands like what's up? Oh God, now I'm blanking. Shout to the Devil. What's that band called? Motley Crue. Thank you.
Motley
Motley
Crue.
Crue.
Sorry,
yeah.
I had a brain fart. My dad is gonna kill me. Motley Crue. It's a great example of that, where they used to use stuff like that in their
Right.
album covers to create shock value.
Right.
And it
Nirvana-
wasn't necessarily that they believed in the
Look
devil.
at Nirvana. They had a baby drowning in their thing. Like, there's so many
it's
representations.
stuff to like.
But I think that it's also the record companies that are pushing
Oh,
that.
no,
And
yeah,
those,
yeah,
I think,
yeah,
some of
yeah.
them are really demonic. I mean, that's like my personal perspective because even like with Motley Crue, they have like, I mean, one of the guys has like a story of recovery. Like he was on drugs and like I was reading his book. I thought that's how I like started getting into like the Motley Crue.
Tommy?
I think one of them. I
Tommy
don't know.
Lee?
One of them wrote
Look
a
at
book.
Linkin Park. The whole Linkin Park. There was like 2 members in that group that they passed by suicide, or how do you say
No,
it? Yeah.
that's exactly. Right.
And that's a whole conspiracy where because they were supposedly, they were making songs about things that people didn't want to be heard, like pedophilia, stuff like that. And all of a sudden, these guys are gone. And they're not the only ones that's
Dang.
happened to.
Welcome to Talkin' Wellness,
Yeah.
the conspiracy
Hey,
podcast.
we're bringing it all for you guys, so listen up.
Yeah,
Don't come for us, though.
But I,
Open your mind.
I said it.
okay, but to your point, I think that it is important to kind of be aware of like what you're listening to. It's not to
Yeah.
say that we don't all listen to stuff that's probably like not the best when you like actually sit down and like go through the lyrics.
Yep.
But there's some things out there that are just like really, I feel like levels of negative,
Look at Pumped Up Kicks. Great classic song. What is it
yeah.
talking about? Talking about killing kids in school.
School shooting, yeah.
There are so many songs like that where it's like people are just like, oh, it's a cool bop. But then you listen to lyrics or you play the song backwards,
Yeah.
like Stairway to Heaven. And it's literally like, have you seen them like on YouTube? I saw the other day when they play Stairway to Heaven backwards. It's like saying something, there's like messages from the devil. And it's like,
I remember
don't
this was
follow
big.
God.
Right.
And it's on the records. And there's a lot of records where they've done this in a lot of times. So it's
Well, they also
interesting.
do like the 666, and now they've been doing like what was that? Dojo Cat like comes out like the devil. and,
Doja
like,
Cat, Little Uzi. There's so many
Yeah.
artists now that are doing
yeah.
that because it's look at Sam Smith. Sam Smith was a phenomenal singer, one of my favorite singers of all time. He happens to be gay. Now he's like, have you seen his recent stuff? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And is that all like shock value? Like, is that
That's
all?
another thing. It
I
could
think
be
it
for
is.
views.
I
I
honestly
think it is, too.
It's a publicity stunt.
But I
Yeah.
also think there's stuff behind that because what you're willing to do publicity.
Look at hey, look at Little Nas X. Look at Little Nas X. I don't think any of that's real.
Yeah.
I don't think he's
Man.
he could be gay, but I
Look.
don't think it's to that level. But it's an image.
It's an
you know?
image thing.
At
Yeah.
the end of the day, look, here's the thing, and here's truly what I believe. At the end of the day, artists are gonna do all this stuff because they want the number one thing artists want these days is attention. I think every artist will tell you that the goal, what they're striving for, is attention. And sure, are there artists out there that are putting stuff subliminally in their music
it's
and
hard.
they're devil worshippers or whatever? Sure.
Yeah.
You know, they want to put bad stuff in kids' minds. Sure, they are. However, for the most part, I think it's a lot to do with trying to get people's attention.
But I think it's the industry too. I don't even think it's just that because I think artists sometimes change when they do end up becoming big, and then because you have so many artists that are now like older that tell their story and like I felt like I sold my soul to Hollywood.
Who does?
Yeah.
Who
You know,
hasn't
like-
said that in
yeah,
Hollywood?
like
Correct.
it's just and so I feel like that's what happens. Like you have an artist that they like that's their dream, you know, like they want to be a singer. They want to ultimately they want to add value to the world through their gift, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that it is tainted and it is corrupted by Hollywood because Hollywood is to me is like the most corrupt, and any industry that comes out of that there's corruption.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why we need to be weary because at the end of the day, music can have whatever effect on you that it may have, but at the end of the day, whatever we're listening to is ultimately ending up in our subconscious
Right,
mind.
because you're repeating.
How do you guys
so
feel about frequencies?
I feel
There's
like-
a big,
yeah.
big thing, conspiracy, that 808s and things like that, which comes through hip hop and a lot of like rock music.
Yeah.
That's not a good frequency for our brains and for our bodies. And we used to listen to better frequencies that would more lighten our chakras back in time.
So I know what you're talking about. So shoot. There's a specific natural frequency, and before all music used to be
There.
like every country had its own standard as to
Exactly.
what
Yep,
it
yep.
was tuned to. And it's after the Second World War that they made a standard to it, and they believe it was like a German that put the standard in. So I don't know how much is folklore, how much is actually true, but all music now is written in 440 hertz, right?
Gotcha.
So what they're saying is that if you it's a higher frequency than we used to listen to, and that if you lower the pitch to 432, it's more attuned to nature. It's more attuned to.
This is what you told
And
me
I've
that
listened-
one time.
I've
Remember
listened-
we talked
yeah.
about
I've
that.
listened to 432 hertz on YouTube. You turn it,
Yeah.
you turn it on, and as soon as it comes on, it's like one of those heaven like ascending sounds,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. It's like, why is that the sound that our brain is chemically
Well, if
wanting?
you actually like, because like with cymatics, for example, they have like these these experiments that they do. So they pump this through like water, and it actually makes like perfect shapes.
Gotcha.
Like it, and
Isn't that
it
interesting?
squares and circles
Yeah.
and all.
I've seen like a printout
on
sheet of like frequencies where a lady, she got like a bunch of like printout sheets of frequencies, different ones, and she laid them on top of each other, and it turned out to be a picture of a person.
right.
I saw something like that too, where it
Yeah,
says that
that
all
type of
frequencies
stuff
and
is
energies
crazy,
creates humanity.
That's
so that
so
was
cool.
also really cool to me too,
Yeah.
because it,
Well-
it ties evolution and religion almost together. So
Think
it's
about
like,
it. Think
whoa.
about it in the simplest terms of this room. If I were to get a drone, the continuous sound of a note,
Yeah.
and drone that sound, there's a frequency that's gonna make this room shake, or it's gonna make your body kind of like
Yeah.
shake because I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's basically there's these natural tones in the world that when you harmonize it to that tune, it kind of like creates like a weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's why there's like sound healing, right? Like, so music is healing. I'm going to read the research that I looked up on this, but research has shown that music can improve mood, decrease pain and anxiety, and facilitate opportunities for emotional expression. Research suggests that music can benefit our physical and mental health in numerous ways. Music therapy is used by our hospice and palliative care board, certified music therapists, to enhance conventional treatment for a variety of illnesses and diseases and disease processes, from anxiety, depression, and stress to the management of pain and enhancement of functioning after degenerative neurological disorders. So this is from North Shore University's health system. So that's pretty interesting. You know, I think that sound and music actually can be healing. And I know in my life, like, there's those go-to songs that for me, like, were really monumental in like my healing journey.
Yeah.
Let's even think about, besides frequencies, think about beats per minutes. Think as a DJ. They plan their whole set based on beats per minutes. I will start it off at this beat per minute, get people kind of moving, and then I'll turn it up to here, and then I'll get them at this level. And I remember I watched the movie with Zac Efron, and it was talking about that. And he was a DJ, and it was saying once they get to like 128 or 180, or it's like a special number, that's when people are dancing. That's when they feel the best to dance. And there's a numerous plethora of songs that are at that frequency, because the DJs know you put a song there, people are gonna want to move their feet. They're just gonna, you know.
So in essence, music and sound actually can control us as humans.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well,
definitely gets a response.
Absolutely.
Right.
Look, and furthermore, I'm a firm believer that the music that you listen to defines your mood for the day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or even you as a person.
Yeah.
Think about it. You listen to a lot of hip hop, gangbanging music. You're probably gonna do that, you know.
Or at least you're gonna
you
think in that way.
True. Or you
think in
listen
that
to a
way.
lot of spiritual Christian music. You're not probably, you know. Hopefully, you're gonna be along the lines of that, you know. So it's typically
and it goes for the negative stuff as well. For
of
example, like
course.
I know a lot of people, and again, we're not judging, we're not blaming anybody. We're
maybe
not,
a little. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
No,
I'm joking.
we're not judging. No, because like,
I don't care.
because
I
they'll
could
come
care
for
less.
us. But there's people who listen to sad music because they like it for.
I mean, look at Billie Eilish. Her whole genre is sad music.
Billie Eilish,
But if
Phoebe
I'm going
Bridgers.
through
Yeah,
something, my breakups were all like sad
Look,
music.
even Usher is kind of like a
but
breakup.
sad
Drake's
music-
almost like a breakup kind of music, you know?
Yeah,
It's
but that's
very
kind of what I'm saying is
slow.
you
that
match your mood with your music.
right there's like these artists that are coming out now, like Billie Eilish, like Phoebe Bridgers, like I'm just
Kaylani, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, all these artists who are making this sad type of music, and it's not bad in and of itself. They're expressing their emotions, and I think it's actually quite powerful to express your emotions in that way. However, when that's all that you listen to 24 hours a day, what is that going to do to your mental state?
Have you ever heard of Lil Peep?
Yes.
He was another artist. He Xanax, a bunch of stuff. He unfortunately overdosed. He was that artist.
XX?
Always talking about another one. Always talking about how sad they are. A bunch of, and it's, you know, it's fine because people struggle and you don't want to
It's
take
their-
that away
yeah.
from them, but you know,
Well,
it becomes a
it's-
part of the image too.
The thing is that as a musician, your songs are a reflection of you and
You,
what you
yeah.
have inside.
I was thinking that because even as an artist, like I do art, you know, and painting and drawing, and like in my time where I was like going through like the most in my life, a lot of my art reflected like that, and it was like dark. Like
Yeah.
my art was
Oh, yeah,
just dark,
absolutely.
you know.
With that point, that's also why I don't think a lot of musicians nowadays are artists, because I
Why
think
is that?
because I think I don't think anybody can make music, but I think there's a lot of people out here that are making music, but it's not necessarily art. It's something that, I mean, I guess that's subjective at the end of the day because art is art, but it just seems like people are making things for the masses versus, like you're saying, based off what they're truly feeling inside.
What 99% of what you're listening to is orchestrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, you know.
And that's what I'm saying. How many people do you truly hear, like a Tupac or like Queen,
Where it's
actually
telling
their
a story.
of what's
Yeah.
going
Oh my
on
gosh.
in their life?
That's
Never.
why I love country. No, that's why I love country and older country
True.
because I will listen to a country song and it tells me the story and I'm like boohoo crying at the end, like, you know, like Tim
Yeah,
McGraw,
that's
don't
fair.
take the
That's-
girl.
that is
It-
true.
It guides you.
Yeah, it guides
That
me
is
through
true.
and I feel this whole emotional.
That's why I
thing.
like rock and roll a lot, but still, there's not many rock and roll artists that are doing that today, that are putting out music like with massive stories. behind
That's
them.
another thing. and this definitely is gonna might give me some hate, but I feel it needs to be said. I feel a lot of people aren't. They're staying in their little bubbles of music. Where that's something that I'm very proud to say is that I can listen to anything.
Me too.
You put me and I've had to prove it with my fiance, because my fiance's favorite artist is Taylor Swift.
I was just about to say you
Bridger.
went
So you say it's on the listener? The listener.
Well,
Gotcha.
I'll get to that.
You're marrying a Swiftie?
Yeah, I'm marrying a Swiftie, man. I'm
He
marrying
is.
one of the biggest Swifties.
He's considered a Swiftie now.
Apparently,
He's a Swiftie as well.
I went to the
By
concert.
association.
I went to the movie. It was a whole
Most
thing.
overrated artist of all time.
Ouch. Bro, it's
Come
Swifties.
for-
No,
come for me.
Come for him, not for the podcast, please.
1989 was
Nah, man.
cool, but
If
not the redub.
If there, if
She has
there's
great songs. Shake It Up. She has bangers.
yeah,
But like,
if there's something that I will never, ever try to make mad, it's the Swifties, man. They have a weird sense of
would you
power.
rather go to an Adele concert or a Taylor
Adele?
Swift?
10
That's what I'm
times.
saying.
Adele.
10 billion
I
times.
pay 10 times more for an Adele concert than I would for a Taylor Swift concert.
But what I was going back to the point that I was making was, there's all these artists, but I feel that a lot of people stay there. Same thing with rock. There's all these people that just stay with rock, and they don't expand. They stay in the 80s, and I'm like, there's a lot of good music that's come out. Or these people that stay with your usuals, Drake, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, SZA today, and that's great. It's great music. But what I'm saying is that I feel that people need to maybe try to expand their horizons a little bit, which is, for me, when I started listening to music on a regular basis, it wasn't that big. I stay with my usual, the pop groups. But once I started doing that, it really opened up my mind to what music is, and moreover, what art is. How people can express themselves through music. And that's why I can say today that I love music, because it's not that I love the artist, it's not that I love the fun little tunes, is that I love the fact that so many people have managed to express themselves, their stories, their feelings, their futures, their pains, their worries, what they're happy about at the moment. They've been able to express that in a really interesting way, which is through music that we can all connect with. And once you really expand your genre horizon, you really start noticing, for me, talking about the Wrapped, there's one of the artists that my fiance listens to is Phoebe Bridgers, which is an artist that I personally don't enjoy her music, but it's an artist that I know that a lot of people really, really, really connect with because they just love her music. And she also, I'm trying to find her name because I want to make sure that I got it right. She introduced me, similar vein, similar genre, an artist called Lizzie McAlpine, who is in the similar style of that singer-songwriter, kind of laid back, talking about your emotions, breakups, and stuff like that. And I came at it with the mentality of another artist, that same singer-songwriter that I just don't like. But sure enough, I gave it a listen. And then I was like, okay, that's nice. I went to the second album. Oh, that's really nice. And I went to the third album. I was like, oh my God, that's really, really nice. And then I went to the concert, and I was like, wow, I love Lizzie McAlpine. Sure enough, on the Wrap, she was my top artist of the year.
That's so cool.
So it's that's what happens when you expand your horizons, is that you go from, let's say my genre starting the year was Bruno Mars, Ed Sheeran, that poppy stuff that you hear on the radio. And because I allowed myself to expand my horizons, I found an artist that I actually love today, which is Lizzie McAlpine. It's an artist, small art, not that big, up and coming, but it proves that what happens when you expand your horizons, you find artists out there that have a message that you really connect with.
I mean, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I love undercover stars that you just find, and I've been getting into that a lot too. And I think that social media helps as well, because let me tell you, I will find really cool artists that aren't out there, and I immediately go and look for their song. But also what helps me is America's Got Talent, Britain Got Talent, all of those things. I'll watch those reels, and if I see an artist that I'm blown away from, I'll go and look on Apple Music. I'll search to find their stuff and add it. So I agree with you. I think that there's so much out there, and I don't even know how to explain their genres. It's just it moves me. Their music moves me, so I go and download it.
Absolutely.
I personally don't think that genre matters as much.
Yes.
As long as it speaks to you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
What defines a genre,
Well, yeah, no, because it's so the best work is the type of that goes throughout, that pulls from a little bit
Different
of country, that
things.
Look
pulls
at
from
Beastie
here,
Boys. What was
from
that? Hip hop? What was that? Rock?
Well,
What was that? You know?
There's a really good show on now. It's called Shangri-La. It's on based on Rick Rubin's. He's a big star producer. He's the guy that
Yep.
that brought up Run DMC. He's the guy that he made the Adele album, the one that actually hit. That's because of him, right?
Wow.
And he
25?
has this approach where it's like, okay, what do you want to say? Like he doesn't tell anybody what to do, but he gets them to where they need, where they're able to express themselves.
Yeah.
And that's why she was able to be
He
so
gives them a
honest.
platform to say, hey, you're an artist.
Yeah.
Now.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
most record labels and people
Absolutely
that produce
not.
do
We need
not
you to put this
do
music
that.
out. That's
we
what
want it to
is.
be like
Yep.
this. If you're not like that, like it's that.
And that was going to be my point because you were saying it's important to test so many different artists. Absolutely. Because realistically, do we think everybody's favorite artist is Drake? Do we think everybody's favorite artist is Led Zeppelin? Yes, obviously people are going to like them, but we love those people because they've been pushed forward. They've always been there.
Yeah,
you know?
and there's
But
no
there are
problem with being a fan.
Absolutely. But there are so many amazing artists, like you're saying. Like there's another singer that I like a lot, and I never hear her name. Her name's Alina Baraz. She's one of my favorite singers of all time. I still listen to her today. And it's because she makes music that's it's very vulnerable. It's very good lyrics, and at the same time, she makes a lot of good beats and musicality that goes along with it that I enjoy as well.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
people will
Alicia
never know
Keys.
about that. Alicia Keys, amazing
yeah,
artist.
she's
you know?
Legendary.
yeah.
Legendary.
Amazing artist,
Yeah,
What-
and she's a musician. Like it's not even.
Yeah.
I think I have, and not that I don't have respect for good voices and singers, but when you have like somebody who's like multi-gifted,
that was
like
a
music,
big era of R&B
Oh
too, with
my
Mary J.
gosh.
Blige's and all of them
Yeah.
around
it's
too.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like the violin and like the piano, and when you're watching, just oh my god, it's
That is
amazing.
one thing I absolutely do love about music, and that, like you were saying, what defines a genre? Because like I love music, like hip hop, that can involve an orchestra or violins and have like that type of music.
Yeah.
My favorite artist, like if he had not passed, would be Mac Miller for sure, because of the stuff that he talks about, his vibe, he always has a positive message, even though he knows he's going through in his own life, stuff in his own life, and I can respect that because it. Like we say, we're saying how many artists don't really say how they're feeling
Right.
nowadays.
It was like his authenticity.
Yeah,
that
it was
you
it was so
really-
authentic of
Yeah.
music, and it was really good.
Yeah.
It was lyrically invoking. It was like, whoa, that was such a good bar, but at the same time, it was like it spoke to me like in an amazing way.
I agree with
you
him.
know?
Yeah. Rest in peace. He was awesome.
For sure.
I want to switch a little bit. So part of wellness through music is obviously listen to different types of music. We've talked about moods. We've talked about what you're feeding into the brain, the type of music. But part of the reason why I really wanted you on this episode is because we both share the fact that we're both musicians.
Yeah.
So more than just listening to music, we actually play music too.
Right.
So how has that helped you in your wellness journey? Picking up an instrument and playing.
Tremendously. I grew up in Dominican Republic. I always felt a little alien because I was born here, and then I went there at a young age, but I never really felt quite assimilated.
Yeah, you weren't born there. Yeah.
With them,
Yeah.
because I had a lot of American tastes that didn't quite mesh
Yeah.
with like staying there.
Yeah, same here.
I love merengue, I love bachata, I love dembow and that type of thing, but it's not something that I'm constantly listening to.
Yep,
It's
same
more
here.
of a nice memory, not something that inspires me to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just part of, and for me, like just learning the guitar when I was doing that, like gave
How old
me
were you when you started?
12.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it started me to.
Dang, you and I
to,
have
like-
very similar stories.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
crazy. Yeah.
So no, I just I didn't feel lonely anymore,
Yeah.
and it pulled people towards me.
Yeah. I felt the exact same way.
Wow.
It gave you a
And
sense
it's
of
like
like
I was
purpose
able-
and community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but you have like the basketball stars, you have
The Cliques.
the cliques, you
Yeah.
have this, you have that.
theater
and I was
kids,
always I always kind of felt like I was on my own the whole time,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden like I found my band, the Gypsies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And you were putting something
Yeah.
out that's beautiful, so you're adding value in an essence as well. So that was pulling, drawing people in.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's
In
cool.
middle school, I did the same thing. That's when I picked up the guitar for the first time and started practicing chords
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
And maybe my reasoning was a little bit more different than yours. I was trying to get girls. So I would so I would buy my guitar. I would play the One Direction songs, you know, trying to impress him. Justin Bieber, I would learn them all just to get the girls. Yeah, one less lonely girl. I'll be like doing that.
In my time, it was more than words.
Oh yeah, there you go. So, but it's in my experience has been very similar in the same way that I grew up I was born in California. Yeah. And then I moved to Puerto Rico. Yeah. And same thing you're describing. There's always a part of me that felt a little bit off because when I would tell people that, they would always tell me the same thing. Oh, you're American.
Right.
No, I'm Puerto Rican.
Right.
You know, I enjoy reggaeton. I enjoy salsa, merengue, bachata. I enjoy plena. Like I enjoy all the bomba, which is a traditional Puerto Rican music.
Bomba's great. I love bomba.
And you know, I love that. It's still part of me. However, because, and this is really thanks to my parents, because of them, I've been really able to find a love for different genres. Mm-hmm. So I picked up the electric guitar and I started playing rock and learning those songs. I picked up the drums and I started playing worship music. I picked up the piano and I started learning those ballads and the poppy songs. One of the first songs I ever learned on piano was Adele's Never Mind, I'll Find Someone Like You. That's one of the first songs I learned on piano. That started my piano journey. You know, singing, same thing. So for me, listening to music has helped me in my wellness journey, but picking up an instrument and doing the action of not only singing what you're feeling, but taking action to do what you're feeling, it's an out of the world experience. Yeah. Like I've had many opportunities in my life to feel like uplifted and to feel energized, but there's nothing quite like grabbing a guitar, grabbing the piano, grabbing a microphone, and just playing in front of an audience. Yeah. There's something really, and playing in front of an audience, what you're feeling inside. Mm-hmm. You know, and I've been able to do that with worship, but I've also been able to do that with popular music.
Yeah, and then they connect to it. Is like the connection piece, right? That's super cool.
Like I'm a part of a band with my uncles, and that's one of the things that I love so much. Like there's a song that we do called Heaven. By Los Lonely Boys, or the Lost Boys, Lonely Boys, something like that. But whenever I play it live, it's like I really connect to that song a lot, and when I play it, man, it's like a whole thing. Heaven by Lonely Boys. Definitely give it a listen.
Yep. It's for me also. It's kind of having something that I made that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's something that started off like just from a note, and it's like
an expression from your heart.
That came from me.
Yeah.
Even if it's not your song, like the fact that I just did that.
Yeah.
Those notes came from my hands.
I feel that
fingers.
same way when it comes to editing, and that's like that expression of yourself.
It's the same thing, but a different gifting. Yeah. What would you say to someone who is older and is like interested? I feel like a lot of people think that because they're old, they cannot start and pick up an instrument.
You're never too young.
I'm asking for a friend.
You're never too young.
No, definitely.
I have. So at the church that I'm currently a part of, there's this member who came to me, and he's about to turn, I think he's in his 60s, late 60s, early 70s. And he said, "Can you teach me guitar?" And I said, "Sure." And almost every 2 weeks, we come together and we work on it. And we practice chords, we practice progressions, practice notes. And he's improving.
Yeah.
There's no age of limit for music. You can be 99 years old and still make a phenomenal... What's that artist that recently passed away who used to sing with Lady Gaga? Not Frank Sinatra, the other one. Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett?
What's his name?
Yeah,
Tony I don't know if it was Tony Bennett that was singing with it.
Alzheimer's.
Oh, okay.
90-something years old, 80-something years old. Still to this day singing songs with Lady Gaga on the
That's
stage.
So cool. Yeah.
There's no age of limit. Anybody can do it at any age. I've heard of it. There's an artist right now. He made a speech on one of these awards. Who he was like, "I'm in my 40s, and now is when I've made my first hit." Like, age is in this case, age is nothing but a number.
It's all mindset.
It's all mindset.
As long as nothing's limiting you, you know.
And I think people just think that way.
And even so, you would think, I'm limited because I'm old. Or I'm limited because like I have some sort of disability. There's drummers who are missing their two arms and drum with their feet.
Yeah.
Literally. Who's the drummer? Led Zeppelin, is it?
It's all mindset.
No,
What's the band that has their drummer?
Def Leppard.
Def Leppard is missing an arm.
That's so funny.
And a leg, I think it is, right? An arm and a leg, is it?
Yeah, he got into a car accident.
And
so-
missing an arm and a leg, and he still plays for one of the most popular bands of all time.
That's so amazing. Yeah.
Like
anything's possible.
anything is possible if you put your mind to it, especially when talking
That
about
reminds me
music.
of a kid I knew when I was little, and I played competitive Call of Duty. His name was One Arm because he had one arm and he played with his chin.
Yeah.
He hit his other analog with his chin. And he played with his hand.
Yeah,
and I was like, bro, you're playing with pros.
Yeah.
I'm just as good as you, and you have one arm. Like,
So if
what
you have
the
a
heck?
dream, if you have, just it's been running
man,
around
push
across
through
your
it.
mind, push through it. Yeah,
sure.
like learn how to play an instrument if that's what you want to do.
It's also about some. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. You're the guest. Go ahead.
It's also about like simplicity. So to me, what pushed me to become a full-time musician was listening to Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
It was so simple compared to everything else, because everything was about technique and all this. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a chill, anarchy, vibey album. I
One of
love
my
that
favorite
album.
songs.
It does. You don't have to be an expert. Just enjoy it. Have fun. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs from one of my favorite artists is Chris Stapleton's Tennessee Whiskey.
Oh my gosh, I
banger.
love Chris
It's
Stapleton.
Banger.
two chords.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two chords,
Yeah.
A and B minor. That's all it is.
The best songs are the simplest songs
And
usually.
His voice though.
It's one of the best songs ever made.
Incredible.
Look at Black and White from Michael
Yeah.
Jackson. Literally just saying black and white most of the song, but he's talking about
It's
racial
black,
issues the
Yeah.
whole
it's
time.
white.
And his voice is so powerful. It just
Yeah.
another one by Michael Jackson, Earth Song. Listen, Earth Song. It's another one. He's literally screaming half the song, but it's such a powerful message in the way and his emotion and everything he gives to you. It makes you feel everything that he's feeling. You know?
Yeah. That's
So
so,
we're
good.
really passionate about these things, but I want to give a little bit of time to the thing that I want us to do for the end, which is at the beginning of the podcast we all kind of shared like what do we assume like that you listen to on a regular basis, but now we actually want you guys and myself included to give an accurate answer. So we assumed that you listen to rap, country worship, old rock, soft rock, and then what was yours? We said you listen a lot to
Latin music.
Latin-music,
Yeah.
lo-fi, whatever,
Classics.
classics, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I want us to open up, and anybody can share. What's like 3 artists that you feel that really, really you connect with?
Yeah.
Maybe shock
Oh,
us,
gee.
shock us a little bit here.
I mean, anyone to go first or?
Yeah, you can go first.
Yeah, I mean, I can go first. I mean, I would say 3 artists that represent me. Doesn't mean I listen to them the most.
No, but just yeah.
If it comes down to that, I'd probably be like Drake and other stuff. But 3 artists I would say represent me and the way I feel and stuff like that. I would probably say Mac Miller, Tupac, and Michael Jackson. Those are 3 artists that have massively impacted me. Man, it's hard. I almost want to say J. Cole too.
Well, you can say it. You're
Yeah, those 4 artists have, for the last 10 years of my life, I've listened to them. Their music from album after album after album has, you can see the growth in them as an artist. You can see how they're trying to make changes in their communities. And I really respect that as a person, from coming from an artist, like that's insanely hard to do because like we're saying, there's so many people that just make music just to make money nowadays.
Yeah.
So those are the people that speak to me. I don't know what else to say about those artists other than they've just made amazing music that forever has lasting memories in my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who wants to go next?
Okay, so I can go. I'm gonna give you guys. So it's so hard. This is like really hard, but I did write down a couple songs. What's interesting is like Tupac makes my list too, because consistently throughout my life, like Tupac has been a constant artist that I like go back to and listen to.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just the way it is.
exactly. And then you guys were right. I love worship. Yes, I'm a worship junkie. Maverick City Music has been like, I mean, even before they blew up and got popular, I had like been turned on to them, and they have gotten me through so much. So I love Maverick City Music. I've been to 3
Maverick
concerts.
is dope, though. I love Maverick.
Oh my gosh,
They go hype.
they are so hype, and they're so like diverse, and they are just their musical talent is insane, and they do interesting things like the people play the piano, like they have just like it's a group, and I like that too. It's not just like one person.
Yeah.
And then I love country. I do.
Man, it's like
What a surprise.
they say find a needle in the haystack. We got it on the first pull, man.
Yep.
I do. I love country. I just feel like I'm a lot more into like the older country music, and not like so old, but like the ones that I feel like are really expressive of the artist.
Yeah.
But now Chris Stapleton, I think, is a beast, and I've seen him in concert, and like him and his wife, they're on stage.
Some
and,
people
like,
say he's almost folk though, almost folk bluesy too.
he is. So they're, you know,
he
the
mixes a
blues-
lot of
Yeah,
genres.
yeah.
He
Blues
does.
specifically.
I like country, but I like blues folk way more.
Same here.
Way more.
More of
so
a
like
bluesy guy.
when I see that artists are definitely leaning that direction, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a piece of that pie for sure. So I love him. I learned from him from my ex's dad, and I was like, wow, this guy
He's
is
incredible.
amazing.
His
Wow,
vocals
what a voice.
are
And
insane.
he won the the Voice, right? He won the Voice.
He did, yes.
Chris Stapleton.
Really?
He
Yeah.
won the
I
Voice.
didn't know he was on The Voice.
He was.
Yeah, that's where he got his break.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
yeah.
you know, even Carrie Underwood too. She was on
Yep.
one of them. I actually saw her in concert like a year ago with my sister. She's pretty cool. She did a great concert. But yeah, so you guys got it right.
Yeah, I guess I'll go. So amongst my close people, I like to call myself the human jukebox, and I think I've said this on this podcast, because I have every genre possible on my phone. So if you go to the genres thing on my Apple Music and you scroll, it's like an endless list of like
into
all of
Papa
it,
Roach,
all
yeah.
of it. But for me, yeah, worship has been a good one. You mentioned Maverick. I gotta mention their cousins, Elevation Worship.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah.
been my kind of thing growing up. It's helped me get closer to my spirituality and God and all that. Queen, yeah, it's Queen is so Queen for me was special because it wasn't a big deal for me until like the last like 5 or 6 years, when I truly started getting into their story, especially Freddie Mercury.
I was just about to say
that's
their
what I was
story.
gonna say. Freddie Mercury.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
When I started learning a little about Freddie Mercury himself, his story, the band's story, it became something where I was like, my God, this is like, you know.
Did you see the movie?
I
Yeah,
did see the
it's
movie. I
so
was
good.
So
super
good.
excited.
Yeah.
I was front row. Well, not front row, but I was like first
Yeah.
people to buy tickets, like when pre-sale. But one of the things that I really connected to his story was that he doesn't look like your conventional rock star.
No,
A
absolutely.
lot of
not.
people call him ugly. A lot of people call him
Maybe he
like,
was gay too.
Yeah.
which is not conventional
Not
for
at
rock.
all. Not at all.
And you know his teeth would protrude
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
His nose was long.
But
So
that
he
voice.
wasn't your image perfect rock star.
No.
But then that man would open his mouth
That
and would
voice.
sing
Wild,
those
yeah.
songs.
That's top 5
And his
voices of all
struggle
time.
though, like his struggle, like
And
I
it's
connected to
like
that too.
Every imperfection, everything would just leave the room.
Does he have one of the greatest voices of all time?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
that's part of the reason why he's one of my favorites, because
Yeah.
I don't think he's one of my favorite artists, or the band is one of my favorite bands. I think overall they're one of the best bands of
Oh
all
yeah.
time.
And their
Yeah.
music is
It's
amazing.
Epic. It's epic.
amazing.
If you go to their best hits,
It's epic.
Yeah.
it's literally 40 songs of bangers.
Yeah, legitimately, like I can listen to every song on their
They're
hits, yeah.
anthem music. They're literally
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
They're classic music.
Yeah,
So-
and my third one, I am a humongous fan of funk. Earth, Wind, and Fire kind
Oh
of
man.
vibes.
Yeah.
I love, but moreover, I love it. I love it when genres kind of fuse together. And I think one of the people that did that the best was two artists. Michael Jackson. I grew up listening. My parents can tell you. I grew
Yeah,
up
Michael
addicted to
Jackson is
Michael Jackson.
legendary.
Listen to him all the time. Still do to this day.
Yep.
Jackson 5, The Jacksons, Michael Jackson. Listen to all of it multiple times. And then his like little brother, not really, but
Chris
in
Brown.
my eyes,
Chris Brown? No? Who do you think?
Bruno Mars.
Oh, okay.
I knew it. Yeah. Well, you said funk, and I was like, uptown.
Yeah.
Funk you up.
Yeah.
Bruno
yeah,
Mars.
fair.
So I'm a nerd, and I love to keep lists on my phone, and I have like all the artists that I've listened to all their albums or whatever. I keep track of that. I have added all but one Bruno Mars song
Yeah.
in my discography in my phone, because in my opinion he's the artist of our generation. I don't think there's any other artist
Bruno
who has
Mars?
made the most consecutive bangers
Pop.
in
An
the
opinion.
2010s. In the 2010s, from 2010 to 2020, I think no other artist achieved what Bruno Mars
I
achieved.
think Ed Sheeran was probably right around there.
Nah.
Not
It's-
for me, but like as far as the top, who were the top artists? They were
Yeah,
probably
Ed
the top.
Sheeran
But
was-
Bruno, I like Bruno more than
Bruno,
Ed Sheeran.
Bruno Mars. Like
'Cause I
now
love
he's
funk.
doing Silk Sonic, which is incredible.
Oh,
as
I love
well.
Silk Sonic because I love Kate Trinata.
There you
I
go.
love Kate.
So it's like
boy. That's my boy.
Those 4 artists have really impacted my life and especially my wellness journey because I listen to a lot of their music when I'm not feeling the best. You know, there's I'll one of my favorite songs from Queen specifically is "Who Wants to Live Forever." I think is one of those songs that
that's from the Highlanders.
Yeah.
that I've really like connected with, especially recently. Is like the importance of living in the now, and like making sure that every moment matters before your time runs out. Is just something that speaks to me.
You named 2 of 3 best singers I think of all time.
Yeah,
So
you did.
Freddie Mercury, Michael Jackson. And I think the third one is Eric Clapton. Different voice, different genre of music, different genre of music, but it's just something that's like, wow, I've never heard anything like that. I ever listen to any song from those artists, I literally can't turn it off just because I feel like those are artists that you will never find again. It's almost like a Cristiano and Messi. It's just like there's never gonna be these things
And
anymore.
now Manny's gonna tell us.
And now we got our guests.
Andrea Bocelli, like
Last but not least,
No.
Bro.
I like simple stuff. I really do. I'm not too
That
complicated.
Punk.
Yeah, but Foo Fighters, times like
Okay.
these.
Yeah.
I listen to
I like Foo Fighters.
the best.
Yeah.
Nina Simone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I ain't got no. I got life.
Yeah.
You know, that's a very inspirational song. I love that. Weezer in my garage.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Weezer.
You know,
Hey.
in the garage.
No.
I feel safe.
See, that's
Yes,
my
I do.
that's
Oh
my
my God.
that's my
Yeah.
one wheel music right there.
Yeah.
You ripping it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love music,
Oh.
honestly. Like,
Yeah.
and you're right. Like, genres doesn't matter because
Not
like,
at
every
all.
artist has like that you guys have
Absolutely.
mentioned. I'm like, oh yeah,
This
that's a
one-
good playlist.
This one's not a surprise, but I'm also a humongous fan of movie scores. Like
Oh,
you'll catch me in my car full blast the Interstellar soundtrack.
Oh, okay. I was like, where's that? Yeah.
Ooh. Or like you'll hear me like this week I added what movie, the Ballad of Songs and Snakes, the new Hunger Games movie. I downloaded that whole thing. I loved it.
And that just shows how strong like music can be like a representation of like a memory or a show or something like that. And it's like, wow, I remember this song because I got baptized or it or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
so cool. I think music has
It brings back
power in
yeah, it
so many
does.
ways that other things don't.
But even in your life, like you're like, oh, high school days, Papa Roach. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Like,
exactly. And it's literally music is like a time capsule.
It is.
It's literally a time capsule to where I could be talking to an 80-year-old person and I could be 10 years old or whatever, and we can literally come and have like interests with music and what they're sharing and what's coming out through the music. And I think that's so cool. And how often do we really see that at concerts? You see so many different people, so many different ages, and I will forever be grateful for music in my life. And I remember when you wrote it on the list when we were saying things that we're grateful for on our gratitude list. And when you said it, I'm like, I can't believe I did not put that on my list.
Music, yeah.
Because it's something that has always been there for me, no matter when my mom's struggling or different things in my life. And I've just had something to escape to. The same as Manny said. You know, when you feel alone, you're like, I have no friends, I have no one to go to, but I can put this song on that someone's speaking about a message that represents my life, and I don't feel alone anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it's moments in your life. Like one of my favorite songs is "These Changes" by "Them Changes" by Thundercat, and it's
The bass player?
yeah.
Nice.
So
Good
so it's-
pick.
the thing about it, it's kind of like a wounded warrior that's been through hell, and like now he's like nobody wants him. So what's his use? And like just identifying with that, because like before we were talking about like sad songs, and it's Joy Division, for example. Give Joy Division it's very sad stuff, right? And that's all they talk about. But it's being able to identify and not feeling alone
yeah.
Yeah.
is why people like sad music.
For sure.
Yeah,
Is
and that's-
why people like that. You know,
For
like,
sure.
oh, I'm not the only ones with these feelings.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's why I
Exactly.
said it's important. That's why I don't blame the artists. I never do, because someone's going to identify with that, no matter what genre of music it is.
Yeah.
It's where I was going to when I was making that point was, what are you listening to? You know, what are you putting into your body?
Well, if you take the song "Hurt" by Nine Inch Nails, right?
Right.
It's him talking about grieving, right? He's grieving the loss of a girlfriend. He's grieving, the mistakes that he made. But you take Johnny Cash to sing it. It's a completely different song coming from a 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bones
Talking
hurt.
about
Yeah.
grief.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
my empire of dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have it all.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's
Yeah,
a very
yeah,
different.
that's
You know,
powerful.
That's my favorite song. Is "Hurt" with Johnny Cash's
I love Johnny
interpretation.
Cash.
Okay,
It's
great.
just
He's great.
it's
Yeah.
such
Ring
a
of
powerful
Fire.
song. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
But I
Awesome.
think I think whatever your mood is, you kind of will switch. For me, like I switch. You know, like when I found out like my high school boyfriend cheated on me, you better believe I was bumping Carrie Underwood.
Some
you know,
Drake.
better watch out before he cheats.
Yeah.
I was like, get the bat. We're
Usher.
slashing tires. You know.
Yep.
Well, what's this bad for?
Well,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can go into that.
thank you so much, Manny, for joining us on
Oh,
today's
my
episode.
pleasure.
It's
Thank you for
been
inviting me.
nothing but a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew for a fact, I was like, we're talking about music, I gotta get Manny.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yep.
But thank you so much. And thank you all for listening so much. Thank you so much for the support you've been giving us since we started this podcast. We are 1 subscriber away from 50.
Away. Who's gonna be that one?
Who's gonna be that one? That person should get an
One.
award.
We need
or
to start
something.
giveaways soon, I
So
guess.
like literally, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. But if you are subscribed, find us that one.
Don't
and
miss the
drop it in
train.
the comments. Be the one that drops it in the comments. Say,
Yep.
hey, I found the one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get you
Don't
a
miss the
prize.
train, guys. We're like Bitcoin. Like before we were worth anything.
God.
We're like right now we're 49 cents. But one day we're gonna have some subscribers. You guys can be like, oh man, I should have joined when they were at 49. That could have been like,
That could've
oh,
been that one.
remember when you had 100 subscribers? You guys, that episode. But you can do it now.
Yeah.
So like, subscribe, notification bells, because we all have ADD. We're not gonna remember. Get that bell to remind you, and we love you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. See you
Thanks for
next
watching.
time.
Bye.
Peace.
You stepped on my headphone cable, dude.
Sorry.
It's not nice.
I'll take care of
It's
it.
not nice.
It's not nice, my friend. My friend, it's not nice.
I got
Okay.
it over.
Okay,
I got it
my
over
friend.
here.
Okay, my friend, you need to be
Let's take
careful
care
with
of
my.
it.
Okay, be careful,
What
my
do you
friend. Are we recording?
Yes.
Nice.
Are we?
So we just got all that nice bloopers. That's what I'm talking about.